All right, so hi Paola, thanks for being here on time. I'm going to start today's class with you. Okay, we're going to keep working with this new lesson that we have. We still have one more lesson that is going to be covered on Monday because of the holiday that we had, right? So this is the third unit. We started on Wednesday. This is the second part, and the third part is going to take place on Monday, all right? So that we remember that the structure is a little bit different because of that holiday. Also, and just in case, this is going to be optional. All right, if you feel comfortable with the topics that there are in Unit 3, you can take the quiz. All right, this is only for the ones who are ready. So the quiz is going to be available this weekend, but it's going to be available until Wednesday or Tuesday next week. All right, it's going to be like 4 days. Again, if you feel comfortable with the contents, you can take it. If not, you can wait until Monday. We finish the last lesson together, and then you take the quiz. All right, so you have that option, Paola and Wilson. But I'm going to show you so that you are sure that you can take it or not. What you need to know in this specific unit is the following. Everything is in resources and learning objectives. All right, so if you know this, if you know more or less how to express these ideas, then you can take the quiz before we finish the content. So it says predicts people's reactions, listen to for specific background, all right, details, listen for ideas about people's reasons, listen for rhymes and products, slogans. And speaking, you need to respond to news, ask follow-up questions. In grammar, this is what we covered last class, right? The past continuous. Today, we're going to learn about prefer and would rather. That's for preference, right? I would rather go. I would prefer, or I prefer to go, right? So the structure is a little bit different. And then comparative adjectives. This is also something that you did before, right? Comparative adjectives, smaller, bigger, right? More comfortable, less comfortable. Then in pronunciation, the R sounds, all right. Then the voiceless right, the TH, like in health or think, it's a voiceless. And then reading and vocabulary, getting meaning from context, understanding main ideas and details, and in writing these techniques, all right? Cluster diagram and other details. So again, if you feel comfortable with that, you can take it, but again, you can finish everything first and take it afterwards. But I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. This is Unit 3. So I'm going to assign this one, and it's going to be available starting Sunday. All right, Sunday. Let me show it to you. So start date, that's going to be Sunday at 6 a.m. So the whole Sunday if you want. 00, all right. And it's going to be officially, it has to start on Monday, right? So Monday, Tuesday. So it's going to be up to that day. All right, it's going to be Sunday, Monday, the day you finish the unit, and Tuesday. On Wednesday, we're going to start like the last unit. All right, so be sure to finish also the test until Tuesday. Okay, that's going to be it. Yes, that's going to be it, Paola Wilson. If you have questions about this, about Pearson, about the quiz, about everything, please let me know. Remember that you also have until Monday to complete the assignments for Unit 3. Okay, it's not until today, it's until Monday because of the holiday. Okay, and there you go. If you have questions about Pearson, please let me know before we can continue. Okay, let's go then. All right, let's continue with our unit. And today, again, we have to cover the next lesson. And this is the next lesson, models of preference. And as you were able to see, we have two ways. But let me ask you again the questions to have the initial conversation. All right, so Wilson, I'm going to start with you, Wilson. What comes to your mind when you read models of preference? How do you express your preference in English, Wilson?
A preference. I don't know. I've heard a word. I don't know. Either. I think either. It's something related with this.
Okay, could be, but actually either is not going to be give preference. Either gives options, all right, but it doesn't show preference. For example, you can ask with either, or you can show options with either, right? For example, you can say, I'm not sure if I want either this or that. Okay, so actually you are not sure what you want, or you can ask, right? Would you want either this one or this other one? Okay, so either, more than preference, okay, it gives options because you are not sure or because you are asked to choose. All right, but there are two other expressions, Wilson, that you can use. For example, how can you express in English that you like something or that you prefer something, Wilson?
I would like.
All right, that's one possibility. I would like. How would you express? Give me one idea, please, showing me preference with would like.
I would like. I would like a soda right now.
All right, yes. And again, that can work, and would like also can express preference, but if you realize it expresses something else, like a desire, something that you want, right? There's a similar word, and again, it's not incorrect, it's good, but there is something more accurate. What other expression can you use with would? There is another word that you can use with would, Wilson, to express preference. What is that expression?
I would rather read my book.
Very good. Exactly. That's one by excellence, okay, that you can use for preference. I would rather. Very good. And the other one is the verb of this word, right? And I already mentioned that one. What is the verb of preference, Wilson? And how do you use it to talk about preference?
The verb would.
Would rather, right? That's one option. But what is the verb of preference? Preference is a noun. What is the verb of preference?
In my example?
Yes, you can give me an example using preference as a verb. Okay, you have to conjugate preference, but as a verb. What is the verb of preference, Wilson?
I don't know, teacher.
It's going to be here. Look, it's going to be prefer. All right, prefer, right? I prefer, you prefer, she prefers, we prefer, right? So how can you give me now one example, Wilson, using prefer as the verb?
I prefer reading physics books.
Okay, very good, yes. And also the conjugation with the verb is correct with gerund. That's one option. We have two options. One of them is gerunds. Very good. I prefer reading physics books. Okay, so let's have those two in mind, please. Wilson, Paola, and Daniel. Would rather and prefer. Okay, thank you very much, Wilson. So let's keep going. This lesson again is not going to be long. Today we're going to have another writing exercise, but this time I'm going to give you specific words to use, all right? Very specific words to use. But before going there, let's learn and actually, you know this one, so let's review and refresh this content. This is for you, please, Paola. Would rather.
Would rather. To express a preference when different choices are possible, you can use would rather because it is followed by the base form of a verb. It functions as a modal auxiliary. I will rather stay home. I would rather play tennis.
Great, thank you, Paola. So using would rather is very easy, right? You simply use would rather or the rather plus what? The base verb, okay? Always the base verb. If you say, I would rather to stay, is incorrect. If you say, I would rather stay in, is incorrect, right? The only possible option, right, is stay, base verb, play, base verb, okay? So to play, incorrect, playing, incorrect. Only play, stay, eat, dance, go, etc. Okay? And simply that. I would rather, right, stay home. I would rather go to the party. I'd rather eat out. I'd rather watch a movie. Okay, and usually, again, this is when you have options, but you can express the idea just like that. But let's start practicing. Paola, I'm going to ask you a question. What would you rather do, Paola? Would you rather stay home or go out on the weekends, Paola, and why?
I would rather stay home. Because I don't really enjoy the parties and sleep late. Maybe because the Sundays I go to my country house, so I prefer to sleep.
Very good, right? You prefer to sleep well. Very good. I think that's a great reason, Paola. Only two details. Instead of saying the parties, remember, if you say the, you're telling me that these are very specific parties, right? But I think that you don't like going to parties in general, right? In general, you don't like going to parties. So if that's the case, instead of the parties, let's only say parties, all right? I don't enjoy parties, or I don't enjoy going to parties, okay? Good. The other one, as you are using the ing, right, gerund form, the next verb that you use is also going to be with ing. So you can say, I do not enjoy parties, and I do not enjoy sleeping late. Okay, I do not enjoy sleeping late. I like to sleep well because the next day, right, I have to go to my country house and I have to do that early, right? And I need a good night's sleep. All right, so just those details, please, Paola. All right, so one more time, please, Paola, with those little details.
Okay. I would rather stay home because I don't enjoy party and sleep well.
I don't, I'm sleeping, right? As you are using enjoy, remember that after enjoy, all the activities are with ing, right? So you're going to say, I don't enjoy parties and sleeping late. Okay, that's what you don't enjoy. Okay, with ing. One more time, the last part, please. I don't enjoy parties and sleeping late.
I don't enjoy parties and sleeping late.
Great, thank you very much, Paola. Good. So that's one. All right. So Paola would rather stay home because, right, she doesn't enjoy, right, parties, and she doesn't enjoy sleeping late, right? So we can apply all the knowledge that we learned. That was good. Now the question is for you, Daniel, the question is going to be this one. Daniel, would you rather learn about, let's going to say, okay, Daniel, would you rather learn about astrophysics, or would you rather learn about, let's say, mechanics? Okay, mechanics. So astrophysics or mechanics, and why?
I would rather learn about mechanics because for me sounds more useful in my life. Uh, in near future or medium future will be, or just for learn a new thing. So it will be, yeah, better for my life, I think.
Great, very good. Again, everything is working good. Just in the expression, if you say, right, just for, if you say just for, and then after for you use a verb, remember we're going to use the gerund rule, right? Just for learning something else, or you can say just to learn, right? Just for learning, or just to learn something else. Just that one, Daniel. Let's repeat that idea, please.
It will, oh, I forgot what I said.
Okay.
I will add the complete idea.
So it can be just the main idea. You can tell me, I would rather learn, you told me mechanics, right?
Yeah.
Mechanics, just to learn something else, or
All
just
right.
for learning something else.
Okay, I would rather learn mechanics just for learning something new.
Okay, very good. It works great. That's the only thing, Daniel. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good. Larissa, the same for you. I'm trying to look for different ideas, all right? Sometimes, you know, it can be hard, but Larissa, this is for you. Larissa, would you rather, okay, would you rather travel to Europe, or would you rather travel to Asia, and why?
Mm, I will travel. No, I will rather travel to Europe, because there are many places I want to know.
Very good. Many places, right? Many places that you want to know.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Great. I think that expression, I think it's working good, Larissa. So great. Thank you very much. Good. And Wilson, the last one is for you. Wilson, would you rather, and let's talk about languages, Wilson, would you rather learn Chinese, or would you rather learn French, and why?
I would rather learn French, I think, because it's I don't know, it's more elegant, it's more easier, I think, than Chinese.
Good, very good. In that case, as you are saying easier, remember that easier is the correct way of saying more easy, right? So don't say more before easier, right? Only easier. So it's going to be because it's more elegant and easier than Chinese. Just that. Well, let's repeat that idea, please.
Okay, French is more elegant and easier than Chinese.
Okay, there you go. Thank you very much, Wilson. Good. So that's preference, okay? That's one way of expressing preference, would rather. Usually you have options to choose from, and you show your preference with would rather, okay? But not always. Sometimes you can simply say, hey, I would rather stay home, okay? Let's be here. So would rather, that's the first one. Let's go to the next one. Now write the formula, you know it. We are not going to write this because later on you're going to have a writing exercise. So this is only going to be speaking, okay? Speaking and speak, would rather. Then you can separate options, all right? As I'm asking you something, you can also express the options that you have and you can express your preference for one of those options, okay? With either, as you were telling me, Wilson, you don't express your preference, you only show the options, okay? With either, you show the options. But with would rather, you show the options and you say which one is what you prefer, okay? And what you prefer. So that's why you can state your preference as well. But let's read this one. This is going to be for you, please. Once again, Paola, separate options.
Separate options. When the choices are named, they are separate by done. I would rather go to the beach than study on such a nice day. I would rather be rich than poor.
Okay, thank you, Paola. So this is something again, and you're going to tell me, this time I'm not going to give you options. You are going to tell me what you prefer among two options that you decide. Okay, so you're going to tell me using your examples, right? You can say, I would rather learn French than Chinese, right? Because it's more elegant and it sounds better and it's easier and so on and so forth, right? Or you can simply mention two objects, okay? Two objects, that it's also possible. But let's practice with verbs here, okay? It's important to use one verb, at least one verb in the base verb. And if it's the same verb in both parts, you can use the verb only once, okay? Rather be, and then you give the options, rich than poor. But if it's a different verb, go and then study, mention both verbs, okay? You can say, I would rather learn French than study another career because of this and that and blah, blah, blah. Okay, you can give me your ideas. But think, please, all right? Think of some options. I'm going to give you some seconds, 30 seconds. Try to think, all right? Try to think of something. I'm going to ask anybody, all right? Try to think of something that you prefer. And you have to mention both options. Okay, just like in the examples, please. All right, let me use the timer. I'm going to time 30 seconds and we start with this one. Okay, good. So we start please in 30 seconds. Try to think of some ideas. Okay, so let's begin. This time I'm going to start with you, please. Daniel, give me only one example, please, Daniel, using these separate options. And if it's possible, you can give me a reason at the end of your preference.
Okay. I would rather go to the stadium than watch a game on TV because it's another energy there and it's more exciting.
Very good. Great. Thank you, Daniel. I have no observations there. Very good. That's one. The next one is going to be, let's say, Wilson. Okay, Wilson. The same, please. One example using separate options. And at the end, also give me a reason of why you are choosing that.
Okay, I would rather study pure physics than mathematics because physics explains all in the universe, and mathematics is more abstract.
Good, very good. I think, again, that was a great choice of words and everything, Wilson. It worked very well. Thank you very much. Good.
Thank you.
Great, you're welcome. Let's continue with you, please. Larissa, the same idea, please, Larissa. One example using these separate options and one reason at the end.
I would rather go to the gym than run in the morning.
Only one question. What was the form of the first verb? One more time, please, the first part, Larissa.
I would rather go to the gym than run on the morning or in the morning.
In the morning. Very good. And why? Give me a short reason, please, Larissa. Why?
Because I like more.
Yes, that's a reason, right? Because I like it more or I enjoy it more, right? Remember, always use the object after that. One more time, please, the reason, Larissa, because I like it more.
I like it more.
Okay, great. Thank you, Larissa. And let's finish up with you, please, Paola. The same. One example using separate options plus a reason at the end.
Okay. I would rather ride a horse than ride a bike.
Okay, good. As it's the same verb, you can omit the verb and you can say, right, I'd rather ride a horse than a bike.
Okay. I would rather ride a horse than a bike. Because I enjoy pastime with animals.
Okay, good. And as you're using enjoy, right, that pass is going to be passing, right? I enjoy passing time with animals. Good. One more time the reason, please, Paola.
Because I enjoy passing time with animals.
Great. Very good. Thank you, Paola. That was great. Okay, good. So you have it, right? This is not hard. Just remember, the only rule that is very important here is that after would rather, you use base verb, okay? Always base verb. And you can use then to mention another option, but the preference is there, okay? The preference is always the first option that you are mentioning. The second option is something that you don't prefer, okay? So you prefer the first option over the second option. That's what you're saying when you use would rather, right? So there you go. Now, this is interesting because you can talk about preference, but you can prefer someone else do something for you, okay? You can prefer someone else do something for you. And what's interesting here, all right, if you use another subject, the verb that you use after that subject is going to be in the simple past. But it's simple past, but the idea is in present, okay? Don't get confused by that, please, okay? The verb is in simple past, but the idea is in present, and it's for a present situation. Let's read more so that we understand this better. And this time I'm going to do it with you, please, Wilson.
Someone else. When you prefer that someone else do something, the formula is subject would rather plus subject plus simple past verb tense. For example, I would rather you drove home. Note, although the simple past tense is used in the above example, it refers to the present or future.
Great. Thank you very much, Wilson. Okay, so that's very important. Here, okay, this idea is present. And it's present for now or even for future. If you're in a party, right, and you know that a person is not drinking alcohol, you're going to say, right, you're going to say, hey, I would rather you drove home, all right, or you drove me home, or you took me home. Okay, you use simple past, but the idea, the expression, the preference is for present or future. Okay, and remember the rule here is two rules, two important rules. First, you need another subject. Okay, I would rather you, I would rather he, I would rather she, and then the verb in the simple past. Okay, again, I'm just going to ask you one example One more time, and it's only going to be speaking. Let's try to improvise a little bit this time. Just a very simple example like you see on the screen. I'm going to start this time with you, please, Larissa. What example can you give me using this structure?
I would rather you you pick me up at 10 to dinner.
All right, very good. Picked is like in past, right? With the last. If it's like conjugated in past, it's very good. One more time and put a little bit more emphasis in the last T for picked, please, Larissa.
Okay. I will rather you pick me up at 10 to dinner.
Very good. To dinner, or it's better if you say to have dinner. All right, to have dinner. Exactly. There you go. That's it. Thank you very much, Larissa. It is very good. I would rather you picked me up, right? It can be for dinner or to have dinner. All right, for dinner or to have dinner. Good. Let's continue with you, please, Wilson. The same, one example, and you can use you can use he, you can use she, but another person. So what's your example, Wilson?
He would rather I bought dinner.
Good, good. Even you exchanged that one. Great. Okay. He would rather I bought dinner. Great. Thank you, Wilson. It is correct. Very good. Paula, let's continue with you, please. The same idea.
Okay. I would rather you cooked the dinner.
Very good. It can be the dinner if it's specific. If it's general, only dinner, right? Cooked dinner. That's it. Thank you, Paola. It is correct. Both ways can be correct, right? It's more common when dinner is just a general idea. All right, so it's going to be more common if we say that's it. Daniel, let's finish up with you, please. The same idea.
Okay. I would rather she came earlier today because we are accustomed to wait her for 30 minutes.
Very good. The expression is very good. Just in the last part, remember, we are accustomed to waiting, okay? To waiting for her.
Okay.
Okay, one more time, the last part, please. Good.
Okay, we are accustomed to waiting for her 30 minutes.
Great, there you go. Thank you very much, Daniel. Okay, so it's just that. Would rather plus a subject, it means another person, because you prefer, okay, you prefer that another person do something for you. And remember, you use the simple past, came, bought, cooked, picked up, right? But even though it's simple past, it's a present idea, okay? Because that's what you call the subjunctive form, okay? You use subjunctive for this expression. You use the subjunctive for conditionals, okay? The past conditional, the present unreal conditional, the past unreal conditional. And you use subjunctives for strong ideas or strong recommendations. Okay, so this is one of them. That's why we use here simple past. Now, very similar. Actually, this is not something that we are going to practice, okay? But it's exactly the same, but in negative, okay? It's exactly the same as the previous idea. It's only in negative, all right? Let's read this one, please. Larissa, don't do it.
When you don't want someone to do something, the formula is subject plus would rather plus subject plus didn't plus do something. For example, I'd rather you didn't do that. Person A, do you mind if I stop to do some shopping on the way home? Person B, I'd rather you didn't. I don't want to miss the beginning of the hockey game on TV.
Thank you, Larissa. So the idea here is the same as in the previous case. It's only negative, right? I'd rather you didn't stop to do some shopping on the way home because I don't want to miss the beginning of the sport hockey game, right? I would rather you didn't help me with this. I want to do it alone, right? I would rather you didn't, okay, you didn't watch that because of this and that, all right? So something that you don't want other people do for you, okay? Something that you don't want. And even if it's a present desire, a present preference, it's still in past didn't. Okay, so please, let's have that in mind. Perhaps I'm going to ask you to use this one later on, all right? But in this part, this is just for getting used to it. Remember that, okay? Just didn't, because of course negative for simple past is we didn't. Now, the negative form of would rather is only adding not. Okay, this is something we are going to practice just briefly. This is for you, please, Daniel, negative form.
Okay, the negative is subject plus would plus rather plus not and plus verb. For example, I'd rather not catch a bus. Let's take a taxi instead. Note, the subject and would are often contract. I'd, we'd, she'd, etc.
Okay, thank you, Daniel. Good. So only not. That's the only thing that we add after would rather. Okay, you don't say I wouldn't rather. That's a mistake. Okay, not is not after would. Not is after rather. Okay, I'd rather not catch a bus. I'd rather not go to that party. I'd rather not do this and that. All right, again, let's do this very briefly. Only one example each with something that you would rather not do. Okay, something that you would rather not do. Let's start with you, please, Wilson. What would you rather not do in general?
I'd rather not study things like medicine, because it don't have formulas, mathematics, and all about that.
Good. Only one thing over there before you complete it. Remember, it's going to be it doesn't, right? Because it doesn't have mathematic formulas. Okay, it doesn't have mathematic formulas. One more time that part, please, Wilson.
Then I'd rather not study medicine because it doesn't have mathematics formulas.
Very good. Thank you very much, Wilson. That works very great. Good. So let's continue with you, please, Larissa. The same idea, something that you would rather not do because of a certain reason.
Okay. We'd rather not take a taxi. Let's call a friend to take us.
Good. If you use the verb take, then you have to mention where. Okay, so you can say to take us to the party, to take us home.
Okay. Let's call a friend to take us home.
Good. Very good. And only one more thing, please, Larissa. Why? Why you, right? Why you'd rather not take a taxi?
Because because that scare me. Like,
Okay, good, because that or it scares me, right? Scares me. Or you can say the simple idea that it's dangerous, right? Because it's dangerous and it scares me. Okay, so one more time, please, that part.
okay, because that is dangerous and scares me.
Okay, great. Thank you, Larissa. Good. That's something else. Thank you very much. Paola, the same, please. Something, yeah, that you'd rather not do and why.
I would rather not play football because I'm not a good player. The sports that have a ball.
Okay, good. Yes, I'm not a good sports player that involves, you can say, okay, that involves a ball. Okay, that involves a ball. One more time that part, please, Larissa. Oh, sorry, Paola.
Because teacher, I forget.
Okay, one more time. So you said, right? You would rather not play soccer because you don't like, perhaps can be, right? You don't like, or you are not good at playing sports involving a ball, right? Which are played with a ball. Okay, so that idea.
Okay, because I don't like, and I am a bad sport player that involve balls.
Okay, yes, about a sports player, or you can say again that expression, right? I'm not good at, okay, I'm not good at playing sports that involve using or playing with a ball. All right, that would sound a little bit better. Only one more time, please, that last part, Paola. I'm not good at playing, all right, sports that involves, all right, or that involve playing with a ball.
Okay, I'm not I'm not good at playing sports that involve balls.
Okay, yes, balls or playing with balls. All right, that's it. Great. Thank you, Paola. Good. And the last one is going to be for you, Danny. The same, something that you'd rather not do and why.
I'd rather not eat soup because it's very hot today and I'd prefer a hamburger.
Very good, right? Yours is very specific to this day, and that's sometimes even the best use for would rather, right? Great. Thank you, Daniel. It works good. I have no observations. So there you go. This is mainly what you need to know, all right? Affirmative and negative form of would rather. And you also have to know that you can use would rather with a different subject, right? I would rather you didn't, or I would rather you did. Okay, it can be affirmative or negative, but it involves another person. Now, the last thing that we're going to take a look at is this one, okay, prefer. Mainly two structures for prefer. Only prefer and would prefer. And you're going to see the difference, okay? Prefer, this is going to be for you, please, Larissa, prefer.
To say what is generally preferred, you can use prefer plus infinitive or prefer plus gerund, as in the following examples. I prefer to eat at home. Prefer plus infinitive. I prefer eating at home. Prefer plus gerund.
Great. Thank you, Larissa, and both are correct. Okay, so remember that this is also the big difference. With would rather, you only use base verb. Okay, I would rather eat home or eat at home. Okay, I would rather eat at home. But with prefer, you can use to. And if you only use prefer, this is general. Okay, don't say would prefer yet. That's going to be the next part. Okay, would prefer. Here is only prefer. Okay, so it's for a general idea. What is generally preferred? Okay, so I generally in my life, almost always, I prefer to eat at home. I generally almost always prefer eating at home. Okay, both ideas, sorry, express the same, a general preference in your life. That is very unlikely going to change. All right, it's very unlikely going to change because it's part of your personality, part of things that you like. And again, it's not going to change easily. Let's only talk about this, and you're going to tell me two things that you prefer. Okay, each of you is going to tell me two things that you prefer. One idea is going to be with infinitive. Okay, you can tell me generally, okay, you can play with adverbs if you want, and you can tell me generally, I prefer to read, I don't know, right, this type of books because of this and that. And I also prefer, and you can use a gerund, okay, and I also prefer writing, okay, writing essays, because in that way I can practice this and that. Okay, so again, each of you is going to tell me two preferences, general preferences, okay, in your life. One is going to be with infinitive and one is going to be with gerund. But remember, the meaning of both is exactly the same, okay? It's exactly the same. So I'm going to start with you, please, Daniel, actually, all right? What are two things that you prefer in general, Daniel? Tell me one of them with infinitive and one with gerund, please.
Okay. I prefer, what can be? I can use a previous example, or what can I say?
Yes, as it's a general preference, you can use previous examples, perhaps. Just try to accommodate the structure and give me a short reason.
Okay, I prefer to go to the stadium. Or I prefer going to stadium, or could be I prefer to watch a game, or I prefer watching a game.
Good, very good. And again, just to finish with these two ideas, Daniel, what is the short reason or a short reason or a brief reason that you can give me for those preferences?
Well, in the first example, because I like, because it's more exciting there in the stadium. Watch a game.
Very good. Okay, that's enough. With one of them, the reason is more than enough. Thank you very much, Daniel. So there you go. Okay, preference, only I prefer when it's general. Now I'm going with you, Paola, please. Let's do it one by one. First, give me one preference using infinitive, okay, and a short reason.
Okay, I prefer to travel by a plane because you spend short time than to travel by a car.
Okay. All right. Instead of short, it's better if you use the word less. Okay, because you spend less time than traveling, and remember, or than to travel by car, right? So you can say by plane or by car. Okay, so one more time with those details, please.
Okay, I prefer to travel by plane because I spend less time than to travel by car.
Okay, thank you very much, Paola. Good, great. You have options, right? Sometimes you can say by feet or on foot. You can say on a plane, on a train. You can simply use those prepositions Or sometimes when you're talking about preference, you can use by, right? So any of those works, Paola. Thank you very much. Good. Wilson, the same, please. No, it's missing one more, Paola, sorry. One more preference, this time with gerund, please.
Mm. I prefer watching movies than watching sports, because I don't really like watch sports.
Okay, good. And you can say I don't really like watching a sport, right? To keep the gerund. Okay, good.
I don't really like watch sports.
I don't really like watching sports, exactly. And one thing also here, Paola, in this one, remember, when you talk about general preference, usually you don't have to mention the other option, all right? Because it's like your general preference. You can simply say, right, I prefer to watch, I don't know, movies because of this or that, right? Or I prefer watching movies because of this and that. Why? Because the options are usually when you have to choose, but for the moment, okay, for the moment. And also one thing, we use than, that is not going to be incorrect, but as you're going to see later on, Paola, that's something we're going to learn. When you show two options with prefer, sometimes instead of than, we are going to use to, okay? And sometimes we're going to say, I would prefer doing this to doing that. Okay, that's going to be the big difference, but we're going to take a look at that in the next part. All right. I don't know if you have any questions up to this part, Paola. Let me know, please.
No, it's okay, teacher.
Okay, thank you. And again, we're going to see, all right, because it's going to be a little bit different than using the options with would rather. Right, so let's keep working, please. Wilson, the same. First, one thing that you prefer in general. Okay, you don't need to show me a comparison. Only tell me the thing that you prefer and give me a short reason.
Okay, I prefer to stay at home on weekends because watching movies is more comfortable for me.
Okay, good, good. And watching there, it's because watching movies is the subject of that idea, right? So it works good, Wilson. Very good. One more, please. And this time use gerund after prefer.
Okay, my girlfriend prefer eating pizza with me on weekends because we are free.
Okay, good. Only one little detail, as you're saying your girlfriend, is going to be prefers, right? With a very strong yes, prefers. One more time, please, Wilson.
My girlfriend prefers eating pizza with me on weekends.
Thank you very much, Wilson. That is very good. I'm going now with you, Larissa. Let's finish this up, please. One thing that you prefer, only one thing, and a short reason, please.
I prefer driving to go out because it's more comfortable to me.
Okay, good. Only that word is better if you remember if you delete the O and you say comfortable. Comfortable.
Okay.
Very good. One more, please, Larissa. And this time, instead of gerund, use the infinitive, to.
I prefer to buy food because I don't like cook.
Okay, good. I don't like to cook or cooking, right? One of those two.
Okay.
Good. Only that last part, let's repeat, please, Larissa. I don't like cooking or I don't like to cook.
Okay. I prefer to buy food because I don't like to cook.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Good. So that's the first part of prefer. Okay. So this is what I was telling you, Paola, all right? And also you use this one, I think, Larissa. You can have this structure, okay? And again, we're not going to practice this. This is something extra that I'm giving you. But you can say, I prefer action movies to romantic movies. Okay, so you're going to use to instead of than over here. And you can do the same with infinitive. Okay, but it's a little bit different, sorry, with gerund. And it's a little bit different with infinitive. So you say, I prefer drinking hot chocolate to drinking tea, right? And I think you used that one, Larissa, right? In the first example you gave me, you used a gerund and then to, and then another gerund. It means, is this a structure? All right, I prefer drinking hot chocolate to drinking tea. Okay, now you can use then, but when you are using infinitive, all right, and it's going to be, I prefer to do something rather than, remember, I asked you once about this, and I told you it's very similar to instead of, okay, rather than, and after that you use base verb, okay? I prefer to drink hot chocolate rather than drink tea. Actually, this is very interesting. I would like to practice at least once this with you, all right? Let me see, because this is something extra. I think we're going to have the time. Yes, let's do it. Okay, again, it's only going to be speaking, and it's only going to be the last two. Okay, this is what we're going to practice now. You need to use this structure. You tell me I prefer, then you tell me gerund plus any object if you want. Then you use to, and you use the second idea with gerund. Okay, and you don't give me any reasons. Okay, I just want to practice the structure, please. So you're going to tell me, I prefer staying home to going out. Just that. And in the second example, you can use the same idea. Okay, you can use the same idea. I just want you to get used to the structure. All right, that's the main idea here. You getting used to using this structure. And the second is going to be, I prefer to stay home rather than go out. Okay, let's play like that. And actually, we are going to use the same example, please, so that you see the difference, okay? Choose only one example, Daniel, Paola, Wilson, and Larissa. Choose only one, and that one example is going to be used with the gerund and to, and it's going to be used with infinitive and rather than. Okay, I repeat my example and you start, okay? I prefer staying home to going out. I prefer to stay home rather than go out. Okay, only one example, and that one example in the two forms. This time I'm going to start with you, Paola. Let's start with you, please, Paola. Give me only one example in these two forms, please, Paola.
Okay, I prefer traveling by plane to car.
As we are using the second structure, we need to use the verb. So in this time, let's repeat the verb, please, Paola. It's going to be, I prefer traveling by plane than traveling by car.
Okay, I prefer traveling by plane to traveling by car.
Good. The same, please, the same example, but apply to the second structure, please.
I prefer to travel by plane rather than travel by car.
Exactly. There you go. That's it, Paola. Thank you very much. So again, as you can see, they have some requirements, right? And sometimes it's not like very, very important to follow them just like that. Sometimes you can use then, and it's going to be good. It's going to be understandable. But this is the best way for using prefer with gerund and for using prefer with infinitive. Okay, let's do it with you, please, Wilson. The same. Only one idea, please, Wilson, and use it in the two forms, gerunds and infinitive.
Teacher, I have a question.
Yes.
If my verb is have, it's correct if I say I prefer having.
Yes, because having is not continuous, right? It's only continuous when you are saying with the verb to be. I am having a car. That's incorrect, right? I'm having a car. You say I have a car. But if you say having as gerund, it's not continuous, okay? And it's correct because it doesn't express a continuous action. It only expresses an activity, all right? Because a gerund is not a verb. A gerund is going to be considered a noun or an activity. All right, so in this case, it doesn't matter what's the activity, it can be used with ing.
Okay, thank you. So I prefer cats to dogs. I prefer having cats to having dogs, and I prefer to have cats rather than dogs.
Or rather than have dogs, right? You say here the base verb.
Okay,
Okay, only one more time, please, the last one. Wilson?
I prefer to have cats rather than have dogs.
Okay, great. Thank you, Wilson. Very good. And that was a great question. All right. Thanks for asking that, Wilson, because it can be confusing. Okay, remember, you don't use the stative verbs. Remember, perception, possession, for example, have, in continuous tenses. Okay, in continuous tenses. I am having a dog, incorrect. I was having a dog, incorrect. I will be having a dog, incorrect, right? Because it's continuous, okay? And that word with ing, Wilson, it's not called gerund, it is called present participle, okay? And again, when is present participle and when is gerund? I'm just going to write this very quickly. Again, I am having a dog. In that case, the ing is called present participle, okay? The verb plus ing, that is called present participle. And how do you recognize that, Wilson? Very easily, because it is next to the verb to be. Okay, I am having. Then this is not gerund, okay? It's not gerund. This is present participle. But if you say, I like, all right, having dogs, here, having is not present participle. Here, the verb plus ing, right, equal what? Gerund. And how do you know that? Because gerunds are next to other verbs, for example, like, for example, enjoy, right? For example, avoid, because gerunds are at the beginning of the sentence, as you told me, right, Wilson, it can be the subject, right? Because traveling, because going, because doing this is important, and so on and so forth, right? So that's how you recognize, okay? So, and if you're using gerunds, then Wilson, it doesn't matter what activity you use because it's not continuous, and the rules about stative verbs and action verbs don't apply here, okay? That's why you can use any ideas, all right? That's the explanation. So let's keep going, all right? Let's keep going. Larissa, let's give our examples, please. Again, only one activity using the first and the second structure, please.
I prefer eating a sweet dessert to salty dessert to eating salty dessert.
Okay, good, very good. The same using infinitive and rather than, please.
I prefer to eat a sweet dessert rather than eat salty dessert.
Very good. Only two things in pronunciation, all right? The structure is very good. When you use that word, is better if in desert, okay, desert is going to be the desertic area, right, with a lot of sand and so on. But dessert is going to be the food, okay? So dessert. The stress is going to be in the last part, okay? Dessert, dessert. Instead of desert, dessert. And the other one, you're talking about salt. Even though it's only A, it's going to sound like O. So a little bit like O. So it's going to be rather than eat, salty, all right? Desserts, salty desserts. So one more time, only the last idea with those corrections, please, Larissa.
Okay, I prefer to eat a sweet dessert rather than eat salty desserts.
Very good. Thank you, Larissa. Great. And I'm going with you, Daniel. Let's finish up this one with you, please.
Okay, I prefer walking my dog in mornings to walking her in evening. I prefer to walk my dog in mornings rather than evenings.
Good, very good. And in the last part, just to practice the base form of the verb, use the verb, please, after than, just to practice the base form.
Okay, I prefer to walk my dog in mornings rather than to walk her in evenings.
Very good, right? And with mornings, evenings, it's better if you use the, right? In the evenings or in the mornings. That's great. Thank you very much, Daniel. Good. So this is how you use prefer. As you can see, it's different, okay? Using, and we can use this as a structure. So using prefer is different, right, to using would rather. And it's more specific. Would rather, in this case, is going to be more specific than prefer. Prefer, it's a little bit more general, right? General ideas that you prefer. You have one more, but again, I would like to finish with this idea, and then is the contrast. Yes, yes, very good. So we got to finish. That's great. This is the last thing, all right? Would prefer. So what is the difference between prefer and would prefer? Prefer is general, okay? Very general. It's applied to almost any situation. But this one is only more specific. But let's read, okay? Let's read so that we see the difference. And this is going to be for you, please, Wilson. Would prefer.
The structure would prefer is used to talk about what someone wants in a specific situation, not all the time, and is followed by an infinitive verb or a noun. See the following examples. Would you prefer spaghetti or fish for dinner? Would you prefer to catch a bus or take a taxi home after the party? I'd prefer to take a taxi home. Note, unlike would rather, prefer, and would prefer are not followed directly by base verbs, so they are not modals.
Great. Thank you, Wilson. So the only difference with prefer here is that it's very weird to use would prefer with gerund. The best options are what? Infinitives and nouns, okay? Infinitive verb and nouns. But again, it's still different to would rather. Why? Because you don't use the base verb, right? Would you prefer spaghetti? This is a noun. Or fish? Noun, 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 no verb. But if you want to use a verb or an activity, you're going to use to. But again, in this case, you're not going to say, would you prefer catching? It's possible, all right, I think in speaking also it's possible, but the best option when using would is infinitive or noun, all right, infinitive or noun. Let's go to the next part. Again, I just want to show you that difference. We're not going to practice this. I want you to practice something else. That is the writing exercise I told you. And we're going to check what's possible today, and the rest of it, it's going to be directly on Monday. Rather than, let's read also this one, all right, to understand how to use it. Larissa, this is for you, please. Rather than.
When we want to say that we would like to do one thing more than another, we can introduce the second thing with rather than, followed by an infinitive without to. I prefer to go skiing this year rather than go on a beach holiday.
Great, thank you, Larissa. And as you see, this is the same that we practice over here, okay? This is a rule. The only difference, again, and what you need to know, that's why we're not going to practice that one, is that prefer is general. It's what you prefer in your life. It's what you prefer always or almost always. Okay, it means if you say, I prefer hot chocolate, it means that in general, in your life, you always prefer hot chocolate over tea or to tea. But if you say, I would prefer, it means that this is situational. This is eventually. This is something that is not all the time. It's only for a specific period of time. So now you only have two options, and one of them is hot chocolate. So if you only now and now prefer hot chocolate, you're going to say, I would prefer hot chocolate. Okay, because it's only for this period of time. Okay, that's the only thing you need to know. Prefer is general, and would prefer is more specific. All right, more specific. And you can use rather than as you did here when you practice with me. Okay, and that will be it for this lesson. Here, as always, I give you these elements so that you can keep practicing. Would rather, would prefer, and also prefer, so that you are sure that you understand very well this topic. Okay, it's a very simple topic, the preference, but as you can see, there is a lot of options. There are many things that you can use to show preference. Would rather, okay, would rather with another subject. You can use would rather as negative idea. You can use prefer. You can use would prefer, and you can use prefer with one idea or with two ideas. With gerund is going to be using to. With infinitive is going to be using rather than. After rather than, you use always the base form of the verb, right? If you have that in mind, you're not going to have any problems. But if you have questions or doubts, remember that all the presentations are always here, right? On Google Classroom. This was Unit 2, sorry, but no, Unit 3 and Lesson 2, and Models of Preference. Okay, over there you can find a presentation, and you can take a look at those formulas if you want to practice a little bit more. If you have questions, please let me know, guys. I'm going to answer or write or try to solve those questions. But in the meantime, and in this time that we have, we're going to do what I told you. First, let me copy this. The link is in the chat, right? That's the file in which we use and write the examples. We had one practice exercise, right? What writing exercise. On Monday, on the last class, we're going to practice speaking. Okay, we're going to have a conversation. We're not going to write. But today, I would like you to write something else. This is going to be the idea, all right? It's going to be like a free topic. And you can just write whatever you want, okay? Whatever you want. It can be in present. It can be in past. It can be in future. You can talk about preferences, now that we learned that one. Okay, it's up to you. This is going to be, or these are going to be, all right? I will call them like the requirements or the elements that you need to use, all right? So this is what you have to use, please, in your writing now. You're going to use these expressions, all right? Firstly, and secondly, in English, you can say that, right? In Spanish, no. If you say segundamente, right, that's incorrect. But in English, you can say, okay, firstly, secondly. Okay, that's what you have to use first. Then you are going to use the connectors, if you remember, right? Complete idea, comma, you're going to use at least two. You're going to use but, and you're going to use so. Okay, and complete idea. Remember, right? You can say, I like pasta, but she likes I don't know, salads. Okay, I like pasta, but she likes salads. I am sick, so I am not going to go to school. I am sick, so I am not going to go to the party. Okay, but and so. So I'm going to mark it as bold. This is what you have to use. This is what you have to use. Then this is what you have to use, but so, and one more, okay? Only one more, but I'm going to give you the structure also here. Firstly, comma, complete idea. Okay, period. We're going to say that one. It's okay. No, it's okay. All right. No bold. Good. And secondly, if you want to use secondly, you can use semicolon if you want. Okay, semicolon, comma, secondly, complete idea. Okay, of course it's a complete idea, but I want you just to get that one. Okay, let me put this in quotation marks. Okay, and only one more, please. One more thing that you're going to use. Complete idea. And you're going to use to close up, you're going to say all in all. All in all is very similar to saying in summary, okay, briefly. So you can replace with finally, but it's not the same idea, okay? But you use to conclude something, okay? You use all in all to conclude something, and it's going to be all in all, comma, complete idea. All right, so my recommendation, try to tell me at least a short story. It can be present, it can be past, it can be future, you can tell me anything, but please use firstly with comma, secondly with comma, but so. Before firstly, you have to use period or semicolon, and before secondly, you have to use period or semicolon. All right, let's do it, please, guys. If you have any questions, let me know. We are going to have from, let me see what time it is. Yes, let's have 7-8 minutes. Okay, 7, maximum 8 minutes, and we check. Write about anything you want, please. Let's do it and we check. Okay, we'll check in 3 minutes, please. Okay, in 1 minute. All right, we check in 1 minute. All right, so let's take a look at what you got, please. All right, again, it doesn't matter if you didn't finish your ideas. What matters is what you were able to write, and let me check that. Okay, we're going to try to check if it's possible everything today. If not, we're going to divide it. But again, let's check what you got and what you all got. First, let's start with you, please, Paola. Let's read everything you wrote.
Okay. Firstly, I would like to talk about a story that happened in my country house. It's about one of my dogs whose name is Clifford. Secondly, we don't really know how he hurts, but 2 weeks ago I saw him have a little ball in his chest, so I was worried about how was that done or what did he have. Then 1 week after, that ball was more big, so I take him to the vet.
Thank you very much, Paola. Okay, let's check the details. I'm going to try to go part by part. The first part is very good. All right, good. Period for the first idea. All right, no observations. Here you have this blue underline because of capital letter, right? You have period, so you need capital letter. Just that one, right? It. Good. Now, in this one, all right, this is because I know that this is a short story. We didn't have the time, Paola, but it's not going to be the best way to use secondly. Why? Because usually secondly is going to introduce another idea that is different from the first idea. Okay, it's like a different topic or something that at least differs with the first one. But as here, you're still talking about your dog, all right, then secondly is not the best idea. All right, you try to use secondly when you are changing the topic or when you are mentioning something very different from the first part. Okay, that's the first thing. And again, we are learning by doing, right? I'm not evaluating this one. This is something extra that I'm giving you, right? So that you can use. So use it. I'm going to write it here. All right, use it for different, different topics or ideas. All right, that's my recommendation over there. I'm going to leave it that way so that you can check it out. So here you can only use another connector like then, okay, then or afterwards, something like that, okay? We don't really know, but if you are giving me, if you're telling me a story about past, it seems, right, what happened or that happened, it means that this is past. So you have to be sure if this is past or present, right? If it's going to be past and you're telling me a past story, it's going to be this one. So what do you say, Paula? Is this better with past or with present? What do you say?
Past, teacher.
Past, right? Because I can see afterwards that you're also using past, right? And to make everything like go in a harmonic way, it's better to use it in past, right? So we didn't really know how he is actively hurting someone else. Okay, here you want to say how como él se ha herido o lastimado, right? But he got hurt. Que él ha recibido eso. Is that true, Paola? Is he receiving the action or is he doing the action? What do you say, Paola, here? We didn't know really, or we didn't really know how he hurts. What do you mean by that one, Paola?
I don't know how that happened.
Okay, so hurts, again, significa como él lastima a otras personas o a otros animales, okay? You have to say passive voice, voz pasiva, got hurt, ¿ya? Lastimó, got hurt, all right? It means that he was hurt, que él fue lastimado, all right? O se lastimó, so got hurt. Here, the second one, remember, comma, right? ¿Por qué comma? Because this is one complete idea, una idea completa, comma, second complete idea. Okay, and 2 weeks ago, it's extra, Paola. So you can use commas here. This is optional. But, comma, 2 weeks ago, comma, because it's not the main idea, right? That's a reference, time reference. But, comma, 2 weeks ago, comma, I saw him, right, have a little ball on his chest. Good. This is, again, complete idea. I saw him have a little ball on his chest. So it's going to be comma. All right. Now, my recommendation here, this is not a rule that you know. If you have too many commas before and after the fanboy, it's better to use a semicolon. Okay. Only when there are commas before. And you can say a lot of commas before. Are more than two, it's going to be considered a lot. Before 8. Okay, so if you have more than 2 commas before this fanboy, okay, before so, you're going to use a semicolon. So I was worried about how was done, okay? This is embedded questions, all right? In embedded questions, sorry, you are not going to use questions, not even question marks. You're going to say the questions as sentences, okay? So you're going to say, I was worried about how that was done, okay? How that was done. Going to be subject, verb, complement, or what he had. Okay, and with period. That's embedded question, okay? Embedded question is a question inside a statement. And when the question is inside a statement, you don't use question order and you don't use question mark. Here it happens the same. Okay, then, comma, 1 week after that, that ball was bigger. Okay, 1 week after that, or so 1 week after, yes, that ball, and as you can see, just because of the comma, now you don't have the underline. Okay, then, comma, 1 week later, comma, that ball, this is the subject. Okay, this is the subject. Here, this is extra. Then extra, 1 week later, extra, or after, extra. That ball was bigger, right? Not more big, bigger. Let's use the corrector here. Bigger. So I took him to the bed, right? I took it, no, not it. You can say him or her. I'm not sure if it was a guy, your dog.
Yes.
Okay, him, right?
Yes.
So, good. So always with an object. Okay, I took what? Always mention what you took to what place. Okay, those are the corrections, Paola. Do you have any questions? Let me know, please.
No, teacher. Thank you.
Okay, good. You're welcome. Now, please, because of the time, I'm going to ask you, I'm going to check one more. Please raise your hand if you want me to check yours today. If not, please, we're going to do it on Monday. Who wants to be checked now? Let me know, please, by raising your hand. If not, I'm going to choose one. Anyone? No one? Okay, one more.
I can do it, teacher.
Okay, good. Let's read then yours, please, Daniel.
All right, firstly, I'd like to write about my experience in Argentina. We went to this country in 2016, and it was a great trip. We went to Mar del Plata, and we surfed. And secondly, we went to the Sea World near to Mar del Plata. It was a fun adventure because we saw whales and seals. But so we spent all our money in those places, and we came back soon to Bolivia. All in all, we had an excellent trip, and we took the best photos of our lives there.
Thank you very much, Daniel. Okay, great. Again, in general, it seems very good, well structured and strong. Again, I only have recommendations. First with firstly, right? As you're using firstly to say, I would like to write about my experience in Argentina, then I expect that secondly, it's not going to be for your experience, that is going to be for something else. Okay, so you can tell, firstly, I'd like to write about my experience in Argentina. So you tell me the experience, blah, 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 blah. And after that, after finishing talking about your experience, Daniel, you can say, secondly, I'd like to also talk about my experience in Germany. Okay, so firstly is introducing one experience, and secondly should introduce another experience or a different topic, right? But you are using firstly to introduce your experience, and then secondly, but you're using secondly to talk about something that happened in that experience, right? So it wouldn't be correct. So the best thing that you can do is, if that's the case, you can delete this one and you simply say, I like to write about my experience in Argentina. Firstly, all right, and what is the difference? That in this case, you are using firstly to talk about only one detail in your experience. And then secondly, for the second detail, second big detail, but in the same experience. All right, I don't know if you have comments about that change, Daniel, before going on.
No, teacher, sounds clear now.
Okay, good. Then here again, this is optional, could be. Remember, this is called the Oxford comma. You have complete idea. We, subject, verb, complement in 2016, and subject, verb, complement. So the best idea here, right, is to use this comma. And it was a great trip. Then,
Okay.
all right, and this one is correct, right? Because you did the same. We, a subject, verb, complement, comma, and subject, verb, subject, verb. If you have subject or verb, that's more than enough. Complement is always optional, right? So it works good. It is good. Then here, without capital letter, right? we went to the sea near. Remember, you don't say near to a place, or it's only near a place. Okay, it's next to, but near, without a preposition. Okay, so near and the place, without the preposition. So we went to the sea near this place. Okay, Mar del Plata, right? It was good. And here, you have to decide, Daniel, if you want to connect this idea with this one, you have to decide. If you want to use a comma, you have to use a fanboy, right? If you don't want to use a fanboy because you used a lot of fanboys, in this case you use and 2 times, then the best option is not to use a comma. You can use period or semicolon. Okay, but don't say it only with a comma. Then it was a funny adventure because only if you believe that because this reason is optional, Daniel, you can use a comma. If not, it's always a good idea not to use a comma before because and let the connection going on. Okay, only when because is at the beginning and the reason is at the end. But when because is in the middle, is the best idea is not to use a comma, because we saw whales and seals. But so this one, right, you need to decide. Remember here, Daniel, I gave you options, but you needed to use it separately. Okay, in one example you needed to use but, and in another example you needed to use so.
Oh, it was a mistake.
Because if they are together, it's not possible, because but shows contrast and so shows consequence. So which one would you choose here, Daniel? Is this better for a contrast or for a consequence?
It will be better to use but we spend all our money.
Okay, very good. My second advice here, a period is too strong for a but. Okay, so we are going to use only a semicolon. Okay, with fanboys, the best option, and no comma after that. Okay, but we've spent all our money in those places, comma, right, because another subject, comma, and we came back soon to Bolivia. Period, good, all in all, comma, we had an excellent trip, comma, right, and we took the best photos of our lives there. And that would be it. I don't know if you have any comments about those observations or recommendations, Danny. Let me know, please.
Yeah, it seems better with all the commas and the fanboys.
Yes, and it's little by little, right? Just remember that rule. If you remember the rule, Daniel, you're going to see that it's going to be even more fluent. Complete idea. After the complete idea, decide. Period, semicolon, or a comma. If it's period or semicolon, that's enough. You can start the next part. If you decide to use a comma, then you need to decide if you're going to use and, but, so, for one of the families, right? That's always the decision that you make when you are writing complete ideas. If you follow that one, I think it's always going to be good. But that's it, Daniel. Any comments or questions? Let me know, please.
No, teacher, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Good. And as I was telling you, please, that's going to be the last one. Please, Wilson and Larissa, I'm going to check yours. We're going to check that together because I want to check this with you on Monday. Let me know if it's okay, please. If you prefer, I can check this during the weekend, and then on Monday you see the results and you tell me if you have any questions. Or we can check it together on Monday. So which one do you like, Larissa? Do you want me to check on the weekend, or do you want us to check together this one on Monday? What do you say, Larissa and Wilson?
I want to Monday, together Monday.
Okay, we're going to check it together on Monday. Good. What do you say, Larissa? Together on Monday, or do you want me to check it before and you see only their corrections on Monday?
Yes, teacher, it's good. The same to Wilson.
Okay, great. There you go. So it's going to be like that. Thank you very much, guys. I wanted to do this activity. This is extra, remember, because you need to learn those details about writing. To finish, please, this one, I'm going to ask you to fill out the survey as always. Thanks for your patience and for being here. Enjoy your weekend. All right, and see you on Monday.
See you, teacher. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Bye, teacher.
Bye. See you.
See you, teacher. Bye.
Bye-bye.